55 years.
Half a century, that is.
That is close to half
Just
a
a bit
century,
more.
just a bit half a century. Do you know why that number is so significant for today's episode?
Hey, bro, you have me in a forest, bro. I'm lost, bro.
You catch my drift. That
in the
is
woods,
the
man.
last time that Nottingham Forest beat Liverpool. That was until this weekend
Yeah.
when
Callum Hudson-Odoi decided just to run back his golden boy days.
Golden Boy
Yeah.
days, and just absolutely, as expressions oozing would say, put him in a spliff,
Yeah.
and with probably the biggest result of the weekend,
Yeah.
in the Premier League.
That was a stunner, bro. I wasn't expecting that. No
Me
one
neither.
was.
No one was really
No one
expecting
was.
that, and yeah, man, I don't know. Just from your just watching the game, what were your thoughts?
It was kind of expected in a way, especially when I saw the lineup.
Expected,
Unchanged.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, unchanged lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, all of these guys are seasoned internationals, bro.
Yeah.
And they were some of them are vital parts of their team, national teams, and they played a reasonable amount of minutes in the international break.
Okay. Oh, fair. Okay.
And they're getting slotted straight into the first match day after the international break. No rotation by Arne Slot.
But I mean, to be fair, I get that, but I think on paper, Anfield, and it's against Nottingham Forest, not the toughest
the
team.
minnows in this game.
So, it wasn't really on paper, it was just like, okay, let's just get the job done. But I guess, looking, when you put that into context, I guess the result it wasn't the most shocking because, again, Liverpool had a lot of possession, as you would expect, at Anfield. And against Nottingham Forest, you knew that they were going to play a very low block, and they were just going to absorb all the pressure. And, Liverpool applied a lot of pressure. They created a lot of chances. But at certain times, they still did look a bit groggy at times. And also, Nottingham Forest did make a few mistakes. I think the goalkeeper almost made a bit of a howler during the game. But otherwise, I'd say this game was more or less reminiscent of the Crystal Palace game last season when Crystal Palace won against Liverpool at Anfield. And again, a shock result that came literally out of nowhere. And I'd say the front line, they would not their best game.
Luis Diaz came close, hitting the crossbar, but other than that, it wasn't as potent as they were against Man United.
Yeah.
And I think that game, with it being the biggest in the league, probably the most storied rivalry in English football, all eyes were on that game.
Yeah.
And teams probably saw also Arne Slot coming out and explaining his tactics. Probably didn't help.
Yeah, because you see now it's like, we can see they play football. So I'm just like, hey, bro, where are you after the game versus Nottingham Forest? Like, explain how they beat you guys.
This didn't look like a good go-ahead Eagles.
Yeah, but I'd say again, I have to give. I think it would be a disservice not to give credit to Nottingham Forest, who their backline really had a great showing. They were very defensively solid. I'd say again, Liverpool didn't do themselves any favors, but I'd say Nottingham Forest, they did very good for themselves. That especially that backline. So a massive credit to them.
The goal came against the run of play, so it would have been a 0-0, just a goalless draw. But I think Callum Hudson-Odoi with the moment that changed the game, and they took away the 3 points.
Yeah,
and that's their first loss of the season.
First goal that they've conceded this season.
First goal that they've conceded this season. 4 games played for Liverpool. 3 wins, 1 loss, which takes them to 3 points behind Manchester City now, who are at the top of the table, and they didn't let up in their game against
They do not
Brentford.
seem to be letting up this season. They seem, and you know what's crazy? The fact that they are a team that are going for their 5th Premier League in a row, and you'd think that at this point there's not much motivation. You'd think that probably this is when they'll just rest on their laurels, but the opposite. They look stronger. They look more intentional. They look more dangerous, and it's annoying.
And Haaland is still doing Haaland things. That's
Haaland,
4 goals in 9 games.
We need to check what he's on. Honestly, it's ridiculous. That when you say that, I just realized that record, that was a record held by Wayne Rooney. in the 11-12 season of 8 goals in 4 games. And Haaland has destroyed that with every other record that he's probably going to destroy in the Premier League for as long as he's here. And again, 2 great goals. I think again Brentford took the lead very early in the game.
And Brentford have been City's bogey team. There was a season in one of their 4 titles where Brentford did the double over Man City. I think it was last season.
2 seasons ago. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 2 seasons ago they did the double over Man City. But this time, I think Pep Guardiola had more than enough to come away with 3 points, which is 4 games, 4 wins for Manchester City.
So again,
they're becoming pretty inevitable at this point.
Man City are becoming inevitable. Erling Haaland is becoming inevitable, and and even then, imagine now you have Ilkay Gundogan making his second debut again, and he looked pretty good. I'd say he hasn't missed a step. He's basically slipped in to the spot that pretty much he left, and he has come back, and it's right there for him. And I think again, him and Kovacic, I'm interested to see how they are able to complement each other whilst Rodri is still gaining fitness again, because he's still in the road to recovery.
Interesting. So 4 wins from 4, and Rodri, arguably their most important player, still not back into the lineup.
And again, Phil Foden seems like he's not really gotten back to fitness. So that's another thing. Kyle Walker, again, another person who hasn't really been in the fray. So he
started the game against Brentford, which is, I think, his first start.
Is it?
Season.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, but again, I'd say, City doing what City does. So whatever.
It's going well on that side of Manchester. On the best side, the red side, obviously. We also had a comfortable and pretty comfortable, saying that we had a comfortable win away at Southampton.
Yeah.
And pretty shaky first 30 minutes from Manchester United.
Yeah, I'd say again, I'm gonna use the note that you said about Liverpool, in the sense that we had a lot of internationals gone, so you could tell that and again, this is the early kickoff, the 12 p.m. kickoff, and you could tell that we're still just trying to get ourselves into the game, and I'd say probably United didn't make things any easier. They basically just backed off and allowed Southampton, who aren't like the usual Southampton teams of the past. They like to play with the ball, because you see what they did last season. They played very attacking football, very possession based, direct. So we just said we're gonna let them have the ball, and we almost got ourselves in a bit of trouble. Diogo Dalot had a half to forget.
Conceding the penalty
as well. But mentioning the penalty. Nana
came up with the save there. Probably changed the momentum of the game
massively.
Because if we would have went into halftime with a 0-0, and the opposition has been dominating, different team talk from Erik ten Hag, but we managed to bounce back from that point. Got a set piece. Bruno Fernandes crossed in.
2 set pieces actually.
Matthijs de Ligt getting his head on the ball, and it's his first goal for Manchester United.
Especially after a tough international break, and I think a good way to silence all the haters with the man of the match performance and the solid performance. But again, special note to another person who was a candidate for man of the match, that being Amad Diallo. Again, he's looking really good, looking very solid, and very impressed by his performance. And otherwise, again, this was a game United needed to win this. We had to, and we did, and I'm happy that we did. And hopefully now let our season start from this result moving forward. But otherwise, good performance, good win, nothing much to write home about.
Moving on to arguably the biggest game of the weekend.
Okay.
North London derby. Lackluster game for the spectacle that it has been for the past few years.
True.
But this one, teams were much more calculated with this one. Plus the injuries on Arsenal's side. They lost their main creative input in Martin Odegaard, their captain too. Who else was injured?
Well, I'd say as of right now, players that haven't played but are injured. Mikel Moreno, he's going to be out for at least 2 months. So, as mentioned in our previous video, as well as
Calafiori.
Okay, Calamari. Sorry, Calafiori. So they haven't played, but we know that if they are fit, they will be starting or will be involved in the game. But I'd say again, probably, for me, I'm watching the game and I'm thinking Tottenham started the game very well, but afterwards they didn't take their chances, and Arsenal just grew into the game as they always do. They find themselves just growing in the game as soon as they have touches in the ball. Even though first half Tottenham had more of the ball, they
player had to make a couple of saves,
a couple of great saves by the way.
Yeah.
But I'd say again, all in all, I'd say Arteta has a great way of setting up his teams, especially when they're up against it, not to concede chances like that, in the sense that, like, you know, even if Raya has to be in those positions, but it's not really like a case where they are up against it. And I'd say that really helped them going into the second half, where I'd say they kind of had a better foothold on the game.
Interesting, because that's where the concerns are with Arsenal at this point. Their midfield, can they control games with Thomas Partey and Declan Rice? Declan Rice, who wasn't in the game, of course, Jorginho started in his place, and there wasn't really. What you would expect is that if you take out a player like who has the importance of Declan Rice in that team, you would expect Jorginho to at least keep the level the same. But you could tell that Arsenal were quite vulnerable in midfield, and Ange Postecoglou tried to exploit that by dropping James Maddison and Dejan Kulusevski in the midfield
positions,
because they offer more direct forward passes, and Kulusevski obviously his dribbling ability. But it seems like it didn't work out for them.
Not really.
And Arsenal again, very, very precise with the set pieces. Gabriel Magalhaes getting the goal. But
I like how you just had to slip in how you can say his name. Like Magalhaes. No one says his last name. But yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, he again a great header, a free header. Again, very, very poor from Tottenham. That was schoolboy stuff. No one was challenging him. He literally had a free hit for the ball. And they got the goal. And again, I'd say Tottenham, they just after that first 15-minute flurry, they just looked very limp. Their attack was non-existent. Players like Brennan Johnson and Dominic Solanke, who you would think would probably be more exciting additions to the team, but
had a few chances, but
never really looked like troubling David Ray in the second half. But otherwise I'd say. And again, the crossing as well was quite bad from Tottenham. I'd say again, Tottenham had a great chance to get a result here with Arsenal's injury woes, and they did not take that opportunity. So, still, as we said in the previous videos, we haven't learned much. Tottenham are just Spursy are Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs are Spursy. They do what they do, and it is what it is. But I think we can go right ahead to the next London club, that being Chelsea.
Interesting debut from Jadon Sancho. What were your thoughts on his performance?
Then we have to go into Jadon Sancho. Why can't we talk about? Okay, fine. Honestly speaking, Jadon Sancho came on in the second half, replacing Pedro Neto, and honestly, he was really the spark that they needed, because he was really lighting up that left wing position. I'd say the position that he never really got a chance to play in at United.
Yeah.
And I think now Enzo Maresca gave him the opportunity, and I'd say he was a big difference in the second half for Chelsea. He looked intentional. He was getting them up the pitch. He was going off. He was actually taking on his man.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been nice for him to do that at United, but anyways, sour grapes. Otherwise, I'd say he really made the big difference, and otherwise they struggled in the first half. So I'd say again, coming on, doing that, and Christopher Nkunku, another substitute, came on, got the winning goal, and I don't know.
Tough first half for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Bournemouth were on them, hitting the crossbar through Tavernier.
Mm-hmm.
But in those moments, it seemed like Justin Kluivert and Evan Nelson, the other forward, they didn't really were a potent threat to Robert Sanchez, even though he had to make a few saves, also a penalty save.
A great penalty save. Fair enough, it was not really a great penalty, but again, you need to be there to save the penalty. So credit to Sanchez, who's been very shaky at the beginning of the season, but again, this would probably be a great boost of confidence for him, since he will be Enzo Maresca's number one.
Yeah.
So I'd say credit to Robert Sanchez, credit to Jadon Sancho for a great debut, man of the match debut. Credit to him.
Even though some people think that Robert Sanchez should have got it, but
I feel like he had a lot of great saves, and a lot of people say he had a lot of great saves, and he saved the penalty that kept them in the game. But obviously it makes sense for Jadon Sancho to be the man of the match because he's the big name, big headlines, and of course the plight for Man United to say they made a mistake. But it is what it is. Great for Sancho. I'm happy for him. I'm happy he's playing football and playing with a smile on his face. And credit to him. Great. Cheeky win for Chelsea, but still they got the result, and that's what's important. So credit to them.
Moving away from the Big Six, the other fixtures: Everton versus Aston Villa at Villa Park.
Okay.
3-2 win for Aston Villa. Another capitulation.
I'd say is the best word to use from Everton. They just absolutely messed up a great, because they played really, really well this game. They played really well.
They had attacking intent. Not your usual dash ball, but
and they actually they went 2-0 up, quite in a great way, and I'd say great goals from Dwight McNeil and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and you think that okay, finally, getting a result away from home at Villa Park, not an easy place to go to. But now, second half, Unai Emery, I'd say he changed things, he switched things up, and I'd say it made the biggest difference. Ollie Watkins, who was having a pretty tough start to the season,
got himself a
brace in this one, just to say that I am here, this is my time. And no, credit to him and credit to Aston Villa. But again, I think the main talking point from this game, besides Everton messing up another 2-0 lead, is the goal by John Duran.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not even goal of the month. That's like probably a Pushkash contender. That was so.
It's gonna be there. It's gonna be up there.
Yo, cheers, man. Nah, he's a baller. He's very impressive.
Yeah, he's giving Watkins a run for his money, right?
True. But otherwise, I'd say good win for Aston Villa, continuing their strong form. And I think now with the Champions League coming up, we'll see how they'll be able to balance their performances moving forward.
Newcastle versus Wolves next. Newcastle unbeaten starts the season.
Very interesting.
3 wins and 1 draw in 4 games. Mm-hmm. And this game, there wasn't really much expected from Wolves.
True. I'd say they've also had a very tough start to the season. They're really putting themselves in the conversation of relegation fodder.
Yeah.
Because what's this, Graham O'Neill? I don't know. It's looking pretty tough. Again, credit to Eddie Howe, because Newcastle had a very tough transfer window. They didn't really get the targets that they wanted, so you would have expected them to have a tough start to the season. But again, as you said, unbeaten start to the season. Yeah. So very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Next, probably for the people who watch for the people who are fans of mid-table teams, probably the best, one of the best games of the match day. 2-2 Palace versus Leicester. Jamie Vardy and Mateta.
Jamie Vardy having a party.
Yeah, Jamie Vardy still banging them in the Premier League. Yeah. Something that we've all been used to if you've been watching the Premier League over the years. And Jean-Philippe Mateta hitting the ground running, I guess.
Mateta.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd say Crystal Palace were the better team. Yeah. Like overall, I'd say Leicester's goals really came from defensive mistakes from Crystal Palace and against the run of play.
Yeah.
So I'd say Palace they'll obviously they went 2 goals down and they managed to get 2 goals back up from Mateta. But I think again, Glasner, I'd say, the form from last season going into the season, it's been a tough start. They still haven't won any games this season, but I'd say this will be a good indicator to say that okay, things are starting to click together. Hopefully now it'll correlate into results, but otherwise, a fun game otherwise for the neutral. But I'd say Crystal Palace really need to start getting those results.
Yeah. Other fixtures: Brighton versus Ipswich. I said it right this time.
You did.
Ipswich playing to a goalless draw. Mm-hmm. Fulham versus West Ham. West Ham, still their signings still not clicking.
Not clicking the way we would have expected them to. But
playing a 1-1 draw.
Yeah.
And the standings in the league: Man City up top, Arsenal second, Newcastle and Liverpool rounding off the top 4. Aston Villa 9 points there. They also seem like they're going to challenge again for the Champions League places, and Brighton also still unbeaten.
Yep.
And in the relegation zone, Everton 4 games,
bottom,
4 losses,
rock bottom.
Same as Southampton and Wolves too. It's not really going well for them down there. But
but still early, still early days. But I'd say a good match week all around, and hopefully more of the same moving forward. But from us, or we can say in the 18 area.
Kalagasha.